Attention! The following you are about to hear will be privy to such knowledge that they are pretty much shared by my own thoughts and my own personal experiences. So please, I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but this is going to be something that you may want to listen first before you act upon. So, therefore, you have been warned for the next 20 or so minutes. So, please, stand by for the following. Hey there, guys. If you don't know who I am, well, you know what this symbol is. Now, I want to point you to attention to this very symbol that you see here on your screen. Of course, if you don't know what this is, then you must have your head examined. I'm going to talk about the most underrated, but possibly the most hardworking people ever known to ever grace this planet of ours. I'm talking about the handicapped. That's right, people who are much different than others that even yours truly is one. That's right. I'm a handicap. Actually, I have cerebral palsy. That means my left side is kind of wonky. So therefore, my left side cannot move as well as my right. However, this is not about the handicapped or being handicapped. It is about a word that it has been long called, but yet always seems to get the wrong way. That word is retard. Yes, retard. A word in which I've heard so many times throughout my life that it just seemed to be like a bee sting to me. And yet, it still hurts to this very day. Now, I want to tell you something about myself. I don't know if anybody. I know that a few people have handicap, handicaps, physical handicaps, or disabilities. They also been labeled as special people. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know who else out there is handicapped or special, as I like to call it. But I guess out of all the people in the world, I can say I'm the one I'm the one who really has a time with it. Not because of what it's about, but the fact remains that out of all things that can hurt, it's the words. Now, there's a difference between handicapped and retarded. I've seen people that have been retarded. I mean, really retarded. They could not speak, they couldn't hold a thought. And yet, you put them through hell. I mean, they literally go through hell. I mean, they try. They honestly try. I've seen it on TV sometimes. Sometimes I watch certain TV shows. I'll give a good example. Highway to Heaven, for example. They showed an episode of the Special Olympics. It was a two-part episode, and it was really about this kid who wanted nothing more than to be loved. His parents didn't love him because he was a retard. And yet in the end they were so blind to see that they were wrong. His brother did not see his little brother. I mean, his older brother did not see his little brother in a long time until tryouts. Or I think it was a tryout. But in any case, he actually said, "Hi, I'm your older brother." Do you realize, I don't know about you, but do you realize that really says something? To actually reach out to somebody and say, "Hi, I'm your older brother, who I haven't seen since I don't know." My point is that just being called retard, that's harsh. That's worse than saying fuck, shit, god damn. That's worse than all those curse words that we've been known to say and hear about. Really. I mean, unless you know what a retard is, it's best not to say it to somebody who isn't a retard, who knows how to use his mind and and can still move, can still walk, can still talk, and still manage to communicate. For anybody who is, how should I say this, special, even though it's hard for me, you out of all the people, whether you have a mental disability, a physical disability, you are truly the underdogs. The people that actually push themselves. I mean, we go through a lot. We push ourselves just to make sure we exist. That's hard. I mean, it's nothing compared to saying, "Oh, I'm black. Oh, I'm white. Oh, I'm Asian. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that." Race has nothing to do with handicap. I mean, people can call you a cripple. They can call you an idiot. They can call you a numbnut. You can shrug it off. You can walk it off, and you can pretty much get beat down for it. But still, the handicapped is nothing to be laughed at because the fact remains that yes, we are indeed special. Whether we have cerebral palsy, autism, I can't think of anything else. Whether we're in wheelchairs, whether we're in stilts, not stilts, not stilts, not stilts. What am I thinking of? Whether we're in wheelchairs, whether or not we're walking, or if we have the decency to communicate, however we can communicate, we're still living. And we still deserve the same kind of respect that any other person has. I've seen on I've seen plenty of images that I googled before I found this one that says stupidity is not a handicap. Yeah, stupidity is not a handicap. Stupidity is basically stupidity. I'm not naming names, I'm not pointing fingers. But really, I'm a Let's Player, and yet at the same time, I'm also a writer, and yet I also have cerebral palsy. But does that stop me from being who I am and what I plan to be? No. when I was smaller, I don't think anybody heard this, but if anybody did hear this story before, my apologies. When I was smaller, I had this problem that maybe my arm wasn't going to grow. It was about like, if I were to look at it, about, I don't know, it'd be like a stump. It'd be like this. My left arm was basically crunched up. I mean, it was just wrong. I mean, I walked around and I'm like this. One arm is like this. The other arm is like bunched up. My legs, I don't know. They had My legs had the same exact problem. Had I not had that surgery on myself, I would not be able to walk around. They had to take a bone out of my left leg, and put it into my left arm, so it will be able to grow. However, I can't feel a goddamn thing in my left leg, but yet it doesn't stop me from trying to move it, trying to trying to will it to move, trying to bend my toes for all I care. But yet, I had to overcome adversity, social adversity. In school, I was smart. I mean, I am smart, but I mean, I was really, really smart in school. Borderline prodigy. And this is 5 years old. This is me 5 years old. I'm a prodigy, a kid prodigy. Yet I had the worst of it. I had echolania, which means I couldn't hear a single sound. Anything I heard was double. So therefore, it was a pain for me to actually hear anything. I mean, I had this game. I had this game in my Nintendo collection called Bad Dudes, and I actually played the first level, and then, how should I say this? When I actually heard the sound, and that sound was I quickly turned down the sound to this, and I could not stand listening to it because it was my ears. I couldn't hear a single thing. I heard double and it just rang my ears, and ugh, it was a mess. So really and truly, it was hard on me. Going to school, however, because of my physical appearance, I was teased a lot. And if you're anything like me and ever went through this, you know how I felt. However, I was taught never to take shit like that lying down. If anybody ever got in my face, I'd punch their lights out. That's what I did. I did it a couple of times growing up through life. Somebody got in my face and they insulted me. I punched their lights out. However, the one word that I really couldn't stand, that really angered me the most, was being called a retard. Mm. Handicap was one thing, but retard, that's a whole new level of what the fuck did you just say to me? Because A, I'm better than them, and I know it. But yet, to be called a retard in a public environment, and yet you're about like 5, 6, 7 years old. You're in pretty much the prime of your life. You're still growing. You're still taking up everything. I don't take stuff like that lying down. No. So what I do? I punched this kid's nose. I was in, I think, kindergarten or first grade, one of the two, and I punched this kid in the nose. I, I think I damn near broke his nose because he was bleeding. It could have been worse. I could have clawed his eyes out. Really, I could have, but I didn't. Growing up with a physical disability, that self, that self is like, I don't know, the most gut wrenching thing any person can actually go through. Because really, I can I can pretty much say that anybody who has ever been through what I've been through, they can understand. And no, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to be handicapped. I'm not saying it's a good thing to be handicapped. It just happens. But for those who are, I say to you, do not look at yourself that way. Do not think that you are an abomination to the world just because you basically got the bad hand, so to speak. I mean, it happens. Mainly, I think it's because of drugs. Now, don't quote me on this, but that's what I honestly think. It might be because of drugs or an accident. For me, it was an accident because I fell on my left side when I was a baby. My father dropped me, and just like that. But as I said before, how to be something that you're not, that's totally different. I mean, you're not an abomination to the world, as I stated before. So don't look down at yourself and start saying, I hate myself. I've done that plenty times. I looked at my left side and I cursed myself. Sometimes I wanted to just downright want to cut my left side sometimes. I mean, even though I never said it, that's what I really felt and thought about. Well, what if I were to cut my left side? What if I were to do this to my left side? What if I just did this and, whatever? Would it make me feel better? How would it, how would it kind of change things? Well, the thing is, I wouldn't know and I wouldn't try it because that way, if I did try it, I don't know, something bad might happen. I really can't say. But what I do know is that for people who are this, if you're in a wheelchair, if you're walking on crutches, if you're trying to walk, if you're trying to move your hands, you know what? You people do not get enough credit. And yes, you as in me and anybody else who has been through that, whether you're a boy in a plastic bubble, whether you've been sheltered, whether you've been labeled an outcast, don't see yourself like that. Because really, only people, the only people that can see you as an outcast or a retard or possibly something worse are morons. And morons don't know their head from their own ass. And even if they do, I think they got their head stuck up their ass too far deep. But I'm not here to insult anybody. I'm here to make a statement. For you see, I'm not just a Let's Player, but I'm also a person. I'm many things. I'm an accomplished author. And I'm proud of that. I'm an otaku, and I'm proud of that too. And I also have a disability in which I could say, yes, I have a disability. What's wrong with it? So, with that, on that note, just be proud that you are still among the living. That you can say, yeah, I have this, but it doesn't have to have me. That's my take on, that's what I feel about us having special, us, you know, us being special or having physical disabilities. Although we have it, it doesn't have us. So always remember that. Just be proud of who you are. You're still living, you're still doing what you're doing. And before I end this statement, always try to remember no matter what, don't give up your dreams for anything. Always keep at them. Always do what you feel you know how to do and keep going with it. Only good can remain from continuing it. However, the only failure you can only get is if you give up on it. Success and failure are two different roads. It's only up to you to decide what you're going to do with that path that you're going to take. Anyway, I have been truly the underdog of the underrated. And I'm pretty damn proud of it. And whoever thinks otherwise, well, I feel sorry for you. So, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this moment for what it was worth. And later on tonight, yes, I will have some more Fire Emblem posted. So, please stay tuned for that and have a good night.